We may never have a ReZero Season 3, and if it does come out, it probably won't be for a very long time. And so let's settle with the next best thing, and that is summertime rendering. Now, I know with me saying that, that puts this series on quite the high pedestal, because when I compare something like this series that's obviously brand new for a lot of people such as myself, with something that is very iconic in the anime community as ReZero, it's definitely going to stand out. People are going to be like, okay, why are you comparing it, or at the very least, why are you putting it on the same level as ReZero? And the reason for that is because the first episode I watched blew me away, and it sparkled that magic that you get, that feeling you get up your spine when you sit down and you know you're experiencing a very good series. The very feeling I got when I watched ReZero Season 1, Episode 1 for the first time, when we got to those twists, those turns, the reveal of Subaru dying towards the end, that is the same feeling I got when I finished this first episode of Summertime Rendering. So in a way, yes, I do hold it up on a higher pedestal because the first episode did blow me away. Okay, so hey guys, this is Future Chibi in the middle of editing. I wanted to throw something in real briefly just to make sure everybody's on the same page. So if you had no idea, this series is being animated by OLM, the same individuals that have given us Odd Taxi last year that made a lot of waves in the anime community. Now, I know many might not care about this, but if you're someone that is interested in the studio and who is working on Summertime Rendering, then this little fun fact for you might actually interest you to a great degree. Now, you're probably wondering to yourself, where do I watch this series? Since you're praising it so high, and obviously it's definitely probably got your interest, where can you watch it? Well, that's the unfortunate part about this entire ordeal. The thing is that Summertime Rendering is in not Netflix jail, but Disney jail. Disney got the license, the rights to Summertime Rendering. However, the series is airing over in Japan, being broadcasted, so technically it's coming out on a weekly basis every single Thursday. And so, because of that, we have to wait for unofficial means, so to speak, to get the series, because Disney's not going to release this series for many, many months out in the future. So, if you actually legitimately wanted to watch the series, you can't. You can't. You're out of luck. That's just how it is. So, I'm just throwing it out there. There is technically no way I can legally obtain this series right now, which is sad. It's really, really sad, because I would definitely pay a lot of money to watch this right now, but I can't, because Disney is not allowing it. So that gets into the next topic. So, Summertime Rendering, is it worth watching? Well, as I've already put it on quite the pedestal, hell yes it is. It is 100% worth watching, and definitely something I really, really recommend you to go in blind. Like, I know me already putting it on a pedestal definitely is kind of getting away from maybe a blind watch, but all I'm saying is if you want to experience the magic, and you want to experience what this series truly has to offer, I really do recommend you to watch that first episode and then come back. Because if you read the comments, if you listen to this video, you're gonna be spoiled. And I would hate to do that to you, because it is such a good episode, and I don't want to ruin that. So, with the disclaimers out of the way, and I've given enough warnings, etc., I am going to dive in to what Episode 1 of Summertime Rendering was actually about. So this is Future Chibi again, and I promise you this will be the last time I interrupt, and I'll leave it back to, present-day Chibi. I want to thank Nama and Bell for bringing Summertime Rendering to my attention for these past few months. Without them, I might not have sat down and really give this series a chance because of how you have to go around certain means to watch it. So I want to thank those two right off the bat, for without them, I probably wouldn't even be making this video in the first place. I knew something was going on right at the start of the series, because when the episode opens up, you're given this weird, sporadic, messed up looking screen. I thought my video player was honestly glitching out for a brief moment when I actually was watching this episode. Come to find out, the character in question that is like the cover girl, in fact, is dead. And it's such a huge bombshell right at the start of the story. You're like, wait a minute, whoa. You're telling me that this character that's been like on cover art, visual teasers, etc., she's dead. And I'm just like, okay, that hooked me right in the jaw. Like, I did not see that coming. And then I was like, okay, so is this a Anohana type series? That was what emotion I was getting. Because if you've ever watched Anohana, that I was thinking, like, okay, so is, like, our main female character, is she going to be like like, you know, just wandering around with our MC and she's kind of like a spirit, etc.? Was that what was going to happen? You know, I was under that impression. I was like, is that what's going to happen with this story? Obviously, the reveals later on in the episode reveals that's probably not the case, but I'm probably wrong too. So let's try to just analyze what episode 1 actually was. So if you watch it only once, you might be a little bit confused, and maybe you're way smarter than me, and there's probably a lot of people out there that is way smarter than me. You know what, I know you guys are way smarter than me, so the point is many of you probably don't need to re-watch the episode like I did. I sat down and I re-watched the first episode, and there was a lot of details thrown into the first episode that at least I missed on my watch. Like, for instance, you have this brief little conversation with this drunk guy that enters into the store, and it's like, oh, you were looking for that lady or whatever, and all that you ran into, and at first glance, it just seems like a drunk guy just babbling on and not really knowing what to say. Like, he's drunk, he's just saying whatever. And you have our MC, he's like, I don't know what you're talking about, because at that time, there was a lot more going on in the scene than that, so you kind of, you forget about that. You kind of just let that slip out of your mind and you move on to other scenes because there's so much more going on in the episode. And that scene in particular is very important for the events to come throughout the episode. Because the main build-up, the main twist of this episode is not the fact that our main female character is dead. No! The main twist is that our characters have doppelgangers to some degree, and if you find out you have a doppelganger, let's just say you're dead. And that's what happened at the end of the episode. Our MC died. And in that moment, I was like, okay, this series, it got me. I did not expect that. I did not expect that twist. So we have a Natsuki Subaru Re:Zero situation on our hands. And on top of that, we throw in a little bit of higurashi. So yeah, if you have ever heard of Re:Zero, which I think many of you have, and if you ever heard of higurashi, imagine if those two series came together, had a baby, a weird baby. That's what this is. That's exactly what is going on here. Because our characters are on an island. It's a small community, people seem to know each other very well, and something mysterious is going on. Very Higurashi-like. On top of that, there is a time loop to some degree that is going on, and there's possibly a lot more, because with the whole weird video effect we had at the beginning of the episode, I'm led to believe there is also some sci-fi that's potentially taking place in this. So it might not just be, let's say, supernatural, time travel, etc., and mystery. It probably also could be maybe robots, or, I don't know, even aliens in this series that is kind of thrown in there. Anything is technically possible, because I don't know what to expect, but the series definitely leaves itself open for speculation, and I like that. I really like how you can sit down and really analyze a lot of different scenes very differently, because now knowing that there is doppelgangers throughout, this series, you're led to believe that maybe characters we saw on screen in this episode might actually be doppelgangers. Now, think about that, okay? If this series is wanting you to believe that obviously there can be two different people, a shadow of someone pretty much, that means that there could be many characters that interact with our characters that is a fake. For instance, someone that is just there, being a doppelganger, acting like they're the real person, but in reality, they are not. It's a very Thing situation. If you've never watched the movie Thing or anything, then you don't know what I'm talking about, but if you have, you know. The monster that hides amongst everybody. It's Among Us. Oh, I'm gonna get a lot of hate for that one. But yeah, so that's kind of like the point, though, is that you're led to believe that maybe there's many characters throughout the episode now that might not be who they seem. And I wonder if that police officer that gave a very shady face was actually a doppelganger. And here's the reason why I think that. There's a scene where Mio, the little sister, she actually has this weird scene where she's just looking outside, she's staring, and it's in the middle of the night. And then we see later on after that apparently she was taking a bath. So it doesn't add up where her position is at currently in the timeline of the episode. The police officer comes out, he meets with her, and then he's like, what you doing? And then we jump cut over to the MC talking with his friend. So we don't really get to know what happened with that conversation, but the next time we see the police officer is the next day, and he starts to act very suspicious, which I feel like one or two things are going on. That was definitely a doppelganger, the Mio stand-in, and she did something to the police officer, and then the police officer got traded out with another doppelganger, which appeared in the store the next time. That's my assumption on the matter, so maybe that's kind of how it spreads. They just swap people out, and they continue to replace the entirety of the actual inhabitants of the town. Now, clearly, the town is very enriched in culture and folklore because people talk about mysterious stories. People talk about, like, oh, there's a shadow. Our grandparents talk about it. If you see your shadow, you'll die. So clearly, it's something that's been passed down for a very long time for a reason. Now, speaking of the shadow story, that kind of confirmation comes from a weird guy that looks like a hiker, and if you look at his back, he has something on his back. And judging by the events that takes place after that, I'm led to believe that that is probably the hiker. That's what I think, and let me explain. Because if you look at the way the design of his backpack is, it looks like a rifle. That's exactly what it looks like. It looks like a rifle on his back, like he's hiding it, and he's potentially going hunting or whatever. We hear a shot later on in, the episode, and obviously you're led to believe that it's Mio's doppelganger, but I don't believe so. I think there was a complication. Maybe there's two different parties, third parties, that are on the island trying to figure out what's going on. Maybe the woman is someone that is like a private detective trying to figure out what's going on. Maybe she was sent there to see what is happening, very similar to higurashi. And then you have the hiker, that's someone that's keeping tradition, and a very shady figure that's just trying to keep things on the down low. That is my 2 cents on the matter. So yeah, there's a whole lot to discuss when it comes to summertime rendering, a lot to analyze, and I really have just taken some time to really wrap my thoughts around what this episode offered. There is so many details I could just dive into and really think about, but for one, all I'm going to say is that I am looking forward to episode 2 of Summertime Rendering, because it is a good show to watch. It's been a long time since I've been able to really sink my teeth into something and analyze something to such a degree. I'm excited. I am super freaking excited for the next episode. So yeah, that is my first impressions on Summertime Rendering. If you have yet to watch it and somehow you continue to watch this video, I apologize for spoiling twists and turns, but still give it a watch. It's definitely worth your time, and yeah, I'm fully for it. I'm fully for this series. So thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video to any degree, please leave me a like. I would greatly appreciate it. It does help me out a lot. And if you have yet to subscribe, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell icon if you want to get notified for whenever I upload. And with that, guys, be safe, stay healthy. Chibi out.